Storytelling. This is something I've been musing about the last month or two, and I find it rather interesting, especially in the light of the Universes Beyond collaborations they've been doing lately. So let's take a little trip down memory lane and look at how Magic the Gathering, Wizards of the Coast in their Magic the Gathering game presented their storytelling elements. Um, Particularly, I want to take a look at the traditional ways of telling,
Sorry.
a story. Fictional stories, particularly fantasy, superhero, you know, things with fantastical elements. Do you ground it in a universe that you make up entirely? Do you ground it in the real world? And then you've got these two sort of polarities. One that makes it easier to relate because you're talking about people, places, things that you know to a much greater degree. And the other one, well, it's a fantasy world. You can make up, you know, rules of physics and magic and whatever to your liking, but you don't have that same grounded element to it. So Magic the Gathering sort of flip flopped on this early, and we're going to take a look a bit at that and discuss a little bit. Um, but basically, they've been doing a pretty settled mode of doing this for about 2 decades easily before they started getting into Universes Beyond. And some Universes Beyond properties that they've included work the exact same way Magic the Gathering does, and others use the other way. So take a quick look at that. Let's get a look at some cards, because cards are always more interesting. How does this thing adjust?
Oh.
Going up.
Right.
Up.
There you go.
There we go.
I'm usually the one that...
So, Magic the Gathering began with...
What are you wanting to see?
Well, Alpha, Beta, Unlimited. So, the core set. It was grounded in lands.
Back a little bit.
Whether it was the dual lands or whether it was the basic lands, these were all pretty generic. Forest, plains, island, mountains, swamps. These are all things that you can find in your everyday as you wander about. You get into more fantastical elements like spells and fireballs and things like that, and the creatures. Well, you get more diversity there. But some of the spells are actually fairly mundane things as well. Here's our first example, the Hill Giant, and all the giants of a creature. And you look at the flavor texts. Fortunately, hill giants have large blind spots in which a human can easily hide. Unfortunately, these blind spots are beneath the bottoms of their feet. Is this storytelling? Well, not really. It's just telling a little bit about how giants operate, trying to be, sort of a humorous anecdote. Giants are usually from fairy tales and things like that. And that's about how it goes. Then you've got something like orcs. Here's an Ironclaw orc. Generations of genetic weeding have given rise to the deviously cowardly Ironclaw clan. To say that orcs in general are vicious, depraved, and ignoble does not do justice to the Ironclaws. Now, that is a bit of backstory, sort of, to tell about the specific type of orc. But the orcs were initially, and all the cards in this set, were made to be fairly general creatures. And then later, they gave them names to make them a bit more specific. But, that was sort of a later change. And they started to create
light is reflecting weird.
Hints at stories without creating a whole arc at this point. Sorry?
It's just a reflection of the light is weird.
Yeah. So the ogre philosopher Grendel believes that the purpose of life was to live as high on the food chain as possible. She refused to eat vegetarians and preferred to live entirely on creatures that preyed on sentient beings. And obviously, that's not matching the picture to the best, but generally an ogre. Yep.
So be a vegetarian, right?
Well, I suppose that's one approach. And you've got the Hurloon Minotaur, known for their love of battle. They are also known for their hymns to the dead, sung for friend and foe alike. These hymns can last for days, filling the mountains and valleys with their low, haunting sounds. So, again, it's very evocative. It paints a picture of the creature and how it behaves, but it doesn't really tell an overarching story.
Ooh.
And then you've got stuff like this. Here's the dragon whelp. So again, you've got sort of the history of the dragons and how they grow and whatnot. But the quote, "Oh, to be a dragon of silkworm size or immense," Marion Moore. So it's a quote from real world poetry. And you have a bunch of these in various cards that we'll see a few more of here in a minute. What goes up must come down, just a play on how this giant works, throwing creatures to give them flying, but with the drawback. And none know this giant is the result of aberrant magics, Siamese twins, or a mentalist's schizophrenia. Yeah. So again,
A mental schizophrenia.
just
What?
quotes on things. Then you've got, fantastical fireballs and disintegration spells and things like this, which generally you don't see in the real world much. But then you've got very generic sort of lightning bolt, something that you see every so often when there's a storm, and it helps you to scale these creatures and know, okay, so creatures that can survive a lightning bolt must be pretty strong. They also include, we're not the right color yet. Real world creatures, though. Let's just grab one from this pile, for example. You got Savannah Lions. Now, I've got a little stack of revised up here. Actually, let's go through this, because this is generally a good example, although revised did incorporate elements from later sets, so we'll skip past those for the moment. But the traditional kings of the jungle command a healthy respect in other climates as well. Rely mainly on their strength and speed, Savannah Lions can take a victim by surprise, even in the endless flat plains of their homeland. So, only takes 1 damage to kill it, which, a little bit less tough than a bear, you might say. But quicker to get on the field and just as deadly on attack. Again, gives you an idea. A giant could probably not be that afraid of a lion or a bear, but most human-sized creatures at the time, you wouldn't want to tangle.
Why is everybody texting me when we're doing this?
You had angels. So you have, again, creatures which, you don't see walking around every day, generally speaking, and some might consider them mythical, some not so much, but born on wings of light and a sword of faith, the heavenly incarnation embodies fury and purity. Veteran bodyguard, one of the few sort of human-based characters, even with a lot of experience, with a whole lot of toughness. The best human fighters like White Knight would have, or Northern Paladin perhaps, could even get up to 3 power for the strongest knights. But 5 toughness is very unusual for a human character. Giant growth channel, all magical stuff. Instill energy. This one came from Arabian Nights. Lure. And again, sort of alluding to common myths and stories that have been passed down, whether people believe them as real world events or not. There's something to the story which is not just, your common apple. Most terrifying thing about the crawworm is probably the horrible crashing sound it makes as it speeds through the forest. This noise, so loud, echoes through the trees and seems to come from all directions at once. So, and then you got something as basic and every day as fog, which can encumber the ability to fight. You've got elves. I tell you, there were so many arrows flying about, you could hardly see the sun. So said young Angus. Well, at least now we're fighting in the shade. Thanks, Ryan, and thanks, Founder, for coming in, by the way. Forgot to mention that sooner. You've got a troll, like swamps, you know. They try and be thematic about that. The larger type of dragon playing with its prey. You got a rock hydra, again, from sort of the Greek myths. Potentially a big creature. This is, again, a reprint. More orky type magic. Skeletons.
Mm-hmm.
The Black Knight. Nettling imps. Trying to manipulate creatures. And again, speaking of demons, you've got a demonic horde destroying lands and causing chaos. And the Lord of the Pit, if you're going to be a little bit more grim. Animation magic. Glooms. Not so fantasy-based per se, but reconstruction's a reprint. The Prodigal Sorcerer. Occasionally a member of the Institute of Arcane Studies acquires a taste for the worldly pleasures. Seldom do they have trouble finding employment. Elementals. Clones. The Djinn. The original Djinn. Before Arabian Nights flushed out the creature type greatly. And at that point, this is before they started putting a downside on all the Djinns and Afrits. So, very powerful. And it's a 4th edition snuck in. We got Juggernaut. Powerful at the time. We had to take refuge in a small cave, thinking the entrance... we had taken refuge in a small cave, thinking the entrance was too narrow for it to follow. To our horror, its gigantic head smashed into the mountainside, ripping itself a new entrance. You got the living wall, a little bit grotesque. Disrupting scepters, all kinds of magical goodies. But again, no overarching story, just descriptions of how these things work in the world. Very flavorful at times. And again here, Samael Coleridge, Rime of the Ancient Mariner. They groaned, they stirred, they all uprose, nor spoke, nor moved their eyes. It had been strange, even in a dream, to have seen the dead men rise. This is one of, I think, 3 cards that quote the Rime of the Ancient Mariner. Wall of Ice and Will o' the Wisp, I think, also have quotes from that particular poem. And again, real-world poetry being used. Here's another from Edgar Allan Poe, The Frozen Shade. There are some qualities, some incorporate things that have a double life, which is thus made, a type of twin entity which springs from matter and light, evinced in solid and shade. So, and again, sinkholes. I've been to a place where there was a sinkhole and the land all sunk away about 20 feet down. It's quite interesting. I've seen them open up under roadways. So a lot of these things are obviously magical. A lot of them pestilence. I mean, there's been plagues go through all kinds of things. Very natural based. Remembering your ancestors. Very sort of normal. Paralyzed. Things can get paralyzed. That's, not necessarily a magical origin. Here's another quote from Edgar Allan Poe on the Phantom Monster. So these quotes are, while they're from real-world sources, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's talking about specifically from that source. It could be just a way of describing this sort of monster or the impression that it gives. while like a ghastly rapid river through pale door, a hideous throng rush out forevermore and laugh, but smile no more. Legend has it the serpents used to be bigger, but how could that be? All kinds of goodies. And here's a favorite. Again, the grizzly bear helps you scale, the size of creatures and, how it would stack up against it in a fight. An armored knight with first strike prepared for battle would do a lot better than this against a bear than a typical human, but don't try and outrun one of Dominaria's grizzlies. There's a name drop for the world that they're not yet quite building, but it's there. It'll catch you, knock you down, and eat you. Of course, you could run up a tree. In that case, you'll get a nice view before it knocks the tree down and eats you. You got options. Wall of wood. Everybody knows that to ward off trouble, you knock on wood. But usually it's better to make a wall out of the wood and let trouble do the knocking. I always liked the art on this card. It's not a great card, but it's fun, and again, it gives the flavor. Anything, grizzly bear or smaller, it can be useful to slow them down a little. Here's a war mammoth. I didn't think mammoths could ever hold a candle to a well-trained battle horse. Then one day I turned my back on a drunken soldier. His blow never landed. Mika flung the brute over 10 meters. Showing the loyalty of your creatures sometimes. Then we got a giant spider. While it possesses potent venom, the giant spider often chooses not to paralyze its victims. Perhaps the creature enjoys the gentle rocking motion caused by the captive's struggles to escape its web. Giant growth is something which is obviously quite magical, but I've lived through an ice storm, and they can be quite scary, and it's a real-world event. So you got, again, this sort of mix. Tranquility and regrowth, and other crawworm, camouflage, healing salve, healers. Here's another name drop for a place that they build up the story more to later. Benelia has a complex caste system that changes with the lunar year. No matter what the season, the only caste that cannot be attained either by heredity or money is that of the hero. But again, this is just, it's descriptive, but it's not building a story. It lets you build the stories in your imagination. There's the White Knight. Out of the blackness and stench of the engulfing swamp emerged a shimmering figure. Only splattered armor and ichor-stained sword hinted at the unfathomable evil the knight had just laid waste. And then, after laying that sort of a foundation with some allusions to real-world poetry, with a lot of real-life animals, things like fog, lightning bolt, that have real-world analogies to let you cement these ideas. All the lands being, types of terrain that you can find in the real world. Then they start to expand the game. And the first stories they introduced were from a real book and featured more connections to the real world. They actually went that way more than a pure fantasy at first. So the Arabian Nights translated, there's a quote from it. For things that never meet do here unite to shed my blood and ravage my heart, a radiant brow and tresses that beguile, and rosy cheeks and a glittering smile. Desert nomads, probably fairly generic. But Aladdin, very well-known character in legends. Still legend, though. Not a real-world connection. But this one does. Ali from Cairo. Very distinctive name. Very real city in our world. So, no flavor text, but a reference to, again, real-world place. Mythical creature, real-world creature. Aladdin's lamp, another myth. City in a bottle. Same basic connection to real-world places, whether it's mountains, deserts, oases, things like that. Then we want to move over a little bit more. You've got the Moorish cavalry. Again, could be just a descriptive. But then you've got Army of Allah with an Arab proverb. On the day of victory, no one is tired. This one's definitely more of an allusion to something in our real world. And even more so on piety, all defending creatures get a defense buff, but whoever obeys God and his prophet, fears God and does his duty to him, will surely find success. A quote from the Quran, another very real-world source. In Legends, which comes a couple sets later, they've also got Dirk Woodbourse with a quote from the Bible, Book of Mark, I believe. And there's others of these with quotes from the Quran, the Bible, etc. War elephant, Kikuyu proverb. When elephants fight, it is grass that suffers. And then another real-world tie-in. King Suleiman, the quote again from the Quran, referring specifically, talking about Solomon, spelt differently, tying it back again to the real-world personage, even though this one is a somewhat mythic portrayal of the man, but it is tying it to a historical figure. Again, camels, asps, we have vipers and snakes, we have camels. Shahrazad, a reference to the tales itself. And then the more recent additions here, elephant graveyard, sorts of places that exist alongside deserts. Very sort of generic real-world stuff. But again, Arabian Nights taking it to a closer tie to real-world stuff alongside very fanciful elements. You got ogresses, you've got djinns, you've got witches, oubliette type of prison. That's real world in a real sense. Got some extra copies there. Someone was asking about light and dark in a comment recently. So for oubliette here, you can see that's what it means if you're wondering in Arabian Nights on light as a side note, the mana symbol. Whereas here, the dark, in the casting cost, quite different. So that's probably the best example I've got to show you of that, actually. And stone throwing devils. Some people try and say this is more real world than it is. To me, it's definitely a devil, but you got raiders, you got the djinn, lots of evil, nasty creatures. Ifrits, ogres. And here's the Wailu wolf. I always have trouble pronouncing that one. When one wolf calls, others follow. Who wants to fight creatures that eat scorpions? You've got the flying men up there. And then you've got some thing as banal as fish liver oil. Now, its effect is a little bit mythical, but it's a pretty plain item. And then you've got merchant ships. And very sort of trading ship effect. You've got a giant tortoise, which is more mythical, and Dan, big fish. You've got things like the island of Wok-Wok. Isle of Wok-Wok, home to a tribe of winged folk. It's named for a peculiar fruit that grows there. The fruit looks like a woman's head, and when ripe speaks the word wok. There you go. Noisy fruit. Sounds annoying. And then another very real world example, the Library of Alexandria. Very specific. The Lighthouse of Alexandria was one of the 7 wonders. The library was not. However, it was a very influential place in the classical period. I think it was built at first by the Greeks, but right through the Roman period for some time before it was finally destroyed. One of the great storehouses of learning in the ancient world. Love that for its reference. And then they got into antiquities. And this was a hard turn in the other direction. Because here, instead of just referring to real-world tales, real-world places, they made a distinct impression to build their own story around their own characters, their own places, and all those real-world references started to fade out. They faded out almost entirely for long stretches of time. But Ivory Tower, just sort of a general concept, but made into a physical artifact. Rocket launcher, a little out of touch with how they did things a little bit later, but still fun. Millstones, again, a physical object, but the way it's used. Looking for some good examples here on the world building side, though. Urza's Chalice. So again, specific characters that they run and build stories around. When sorely wounded or tired, Urza would often retreat to the workshops of his apprentice. There, they were greatly amazed at how much better he looked each time he took a sip of water. You got Tuanos' coffin, and you've got several cards that reference who Tuanos was. Tablet of Ipter also references Urza and their masterpieces. Didn't come up until years later, but the Ronum Glaciers, there you go. Feldman found the first of these canes frozen in the ice. You got the candelabra. Tuanos learned quickly from Urza that utter simplicity often led to wondrous yet subtle utility. So again, you've got this group of wizards learning from each other. You've got the brothers' war and the conflict between them. And all these things that come up during that. During the brothers' childhood, Torska took them to explore the caves of Kolios. Again, I think it was until Apocalypse or something like that they came out with a land to represent that. There in the halls of Tagsin, Mishra discovered the mysterious Weakstone. You've got the Ornithopter and its flavor text. Many scholars believe that these creatures were the result of Urza's first attempt at mechanical life, perhaps created in his early days as an apprentice to Torska. And that actually comes back later, interestingly, in one of the cards we're going to get to from Assassin's Creed. You can see back there. Very inspired in its art by Leonardo da Vinci, who eventually comes back in as another real-world reference, interestingly enough. But again, this is one that I liked as a kid. The Ocean Soldier. After Krug was destroyed, while most of its defenders were at his side, Urza vowed that none of his allies would ever need to fear for their own defense again. even while laying siege to a city far from their homelands. And so the legend is built, and you get the backstory there. More recently, I've acquired one of these flawed copies of relics from the Thran Empire. Su Chi were inherently unstable and provided useful knowledge for Torska's students. You've got the Dragon Engine. Those who believe the city of Krug would never fall to Mishra's forces severely underestimated the might of his war machines. And then another reference to Tuanos. Tuanos won fame as Urza's greatest assistant. After he created these warriors, Urza ended his apprenticeship, promoting him directly to the rank of master. So again, you've still got references to sort of mythological elements in our history, but more and more they're building their own world. And this continued heavily when you look at the Dark and Fallen Empires, the fallout from this, leading into the Ice Age storyline, and then hopping continent to continent, as well as time frames around Dominaria, which was the first major world that they built. For many sets, many blocks expanded that. It wasn't until they didn't start jumping planes, per se, officially, until, I think it was Tempest Weatherlight and Exodus, when they started to do that sort of thing. Spirits of Argoth, grant me new life to those who repent the folly of enslaving their labors to devices. So again, Argoth, Argothian pixies, Argothian tree folk. Again, building up their world. One of the first references to Phyrexia, the gate to Phyrexia, the warm rain of grease on my face immediately made it clear I had entered Phyrexia. A scary place, and they didn't realize how scary until later. Here's Drafina's restoration. Drafina, founder of the College of Lat-Nam, could create a working model from even the smallest remnants of newly unearthed artifact. So again, it shows sort of how it worked, what's going on. But now it's definitely building more of a world, name-dropping people, places that get re-mentioned later to build on what's going on in all these places as stories start to develop. They even eventually started writing novels and distributing cards specifically and uniquely with the novels to encourage you to get and read them. That took, again, years and sets later, but tedious research made the sages of the College of Lat-Nam adept in repairing broken artifacts. And then you had, again, a strip mine isn't that unique a place. You can find these if you drive around the countryside, some in many places. However, the text, unlike previous conflicts, the war between Urza and Mishra made Dominaria itself a casualty of war. So they tie it right back to this same world again. Very directly. And again, mines, power plants, towers, but all specifically tied to this one person, Urza, even if there are different artworks and stuff to make them appear different scenarios. They keep the same flavor text, they keep the same reference back to what it's all about. Mines became as common as cities during the days of the artificers. Urza always put Torska's lessons on resource gathering to effective use, and artifact construction required immense resources. So, Antiquities was when they first dug into that. Then they went to Legends, and Legends was another sort of mixed bag. It took inspiration from some real-world places. It didn't really build up the story of Dominaria at all. They returned to that heavily with the Dark, like I said, and Fallen Empires, and then into Ice Age and whatever else came after. But these were just sort of more based off of mythical tropes, and some had some real-world ties as well. Again, you had real-world poetry here used more often. "'Tis distant lens enhance the view and robe the mountains in azure hue." Thomas Kimball. Good old Henry Wadsworth quote nice. On this one. "This forest primeval, the murmuring pines, the hemlocks, stand like druids of old."
I like that art.
And Emily Dickinson. "To make a prairie, it takes a clover and one bee, one clover and a bee, and reverie." I got a quote from Edgar Allan Poe on Urborg. Trying to get this one focused. It's a little bit smaller text. "Resignedly beneath the sky, the melancholy waters lie, so blend the turrets and shadows there, at all seemed pendulous in air, while in form a proud tower in town death looks gigantically down." And you've got things like "The Ring of the Mortals," "The Sword of the Ages," "Vampire Bats," and again, sort of a real world mythical.
Thumbs up from Ryan.
"The Headless Horseman," from the legend of Sleepy Hollow. "The ghost rides forth
on the kettle
to the scene of battle in nightly quest of his head. Sometimes passes along the hollow like a midnight blast."
We have a very loud kettle, if you guys can hear that.
Yeah, it's strange. "The Chains of Mephistopheles." This is a callback to Dr. Faustus, which was a play written by a contemporary of William Shakespeare. One of the few that's remembered of his competition, as far as I can recall.
Could you hear us downstairs? We're thinking of ideas for stories.
Oh, we heard you.
Yeah, I'm sure the camera heard too.
And speaking of Dr. Faustus, "The Tragic History of Dr. Faustus" by Christopher Marlowe. Quote from that one. And speaking of William Shakespeare, on Boomerang, "Oh, call back yesterday, bid time return," from Richard II. So there's lots of these quotes: divine intervention, art reflecting real-world figures like Albert Einstein on Presence of the Master.
Is that your favorite one?
I don't know if it's my favorite, but I've always really appreciated it. Got my copy of this when I was studying physics at university, so it seemed very appropriate. This particular copy is in awful, awful shape, by the way.
That's not a high value card, is it?
No, it is not. But this particular one is in awful, awful shape. You might not be able to tell how bad from the front. It's got some wavy creases along here, but you flip it over and look at that corner damage and surface wear. That's completely unusable if it's not in the sleeve. So
Sorry, what's that one called again?
Presence of the Master. It's actually been
Yeah.
reprinted since Legends, although they changed the art. You've got Reincarnation, you've got Floral Spasm, and Barbary Apes. Whirling Dervish, I always thought looked more like an Arabian Nights card, though it isn't. Chain Lightning. And another quote
Wow.
from William Shakespeare.
So there's two different versions with the Einstein art.
Yeah, Italian and English.
Oh, okay. I see.
None
in stock.
Giant Strength. Creature gains +2/+2. Oh, it is excellent to have a giant strength, but it is tyrannous to use it like a giant.
You never got a copy of that in
Measure to
Italian?
measure. Oh, I think I do.
Oh, okay. That one would be in much better shape.
Yes, it would.
Ugh.
And then you've got an assortment of legendary creatures that were in Legends. Many, many of them.
Oh my goodness.
Some of them are purely mythical. You've got the good old Zira Arian, you've got Liliana Savone,
Drive by.
Gwendolyn,
Have a
etc.
good night, Boyd. Thanks for popping in.
Thanks for popping in, for sure. And then you've got a few, like
Is that
Nebuchadnezzar.
Arabian Nights?
Like
The
Nebuchadnezzar.
drive by just had
We went through some Arabian stuff earlier. Now we're in Legends. But
that one looks cool.
yeah, Rasputin Dreamweaver. And this is, you may have heard of,
And those scratches on the sleeve or the card.
those are not scratches. That's actually a printer error where the roller for the printer missed some spots.
no!
So,
That sucks.
yeah. But, yeah. You may have heard of the song Ra Ra Rasputin from Boney M. That's another one that talks about the same Rasputin from Russia that had magical powers and whatnot and was an influence on the last king and queen, the royal family, before the Russian Revolution overthrew them.
There's
Very
actually-
recent character in history.
There was
With,
actually a kid's show about that, but they made it how he could time travel and save the youngest one and she was
Yeah.
able to go back and save her family.
And like I said, you've also got Nebuchadnezzar, who's a character recorded in the Bible, a historical character, king of Babylon. So, all these sorts of things. I'm not going to pull out the dark because this is enough to get my point across. Is that early on they kept it pretty generic fantasy. Then they went into real world reference with Arabian Nights in a couple of types of cards with real world reference. Then they started building their
Mox.
own world with
I saw
antiquities.
Mox, says Void.
And their own world persisted after Legends, right through the Dark, Fallen Empires, and on. They only went back to do another set that was inspired by real world places and people for one of the Portal introductory sets, the Portal 3 Kingdom set, based around Chinese historic legend, sort of. You want to
See
think
Soul
about...
Ring. Did I see Ball Lightning? Oh, the memories.
Actually, I don't think either of those were in here, but there's definitely a lot of goodies in
You
this
didn't have
binder.
Soul. You didn't have Soul Ring in there.
I don't have an unlimited copy. I do
Oh,
have
okay.
revised copies, but they're not actually in this revised stack either. Anyway. But yeah, again, early on, they kept it very generic. Real life things like animals you might recognize, like lightning and fog. And again, the basic lands are all, pretty generic places you can encounter alongside fantasy elements, dragons,
Nice.
demons, angels, sorcerers, elementals, djinns, all kinds of amazing
You went through this stack
creatures.
At the beginning of the stream,
I
right?
did. And then they built their own specific world
And trope decks.
after doing the Arabian Nights interlude, as they were building their plans, basically a few references and legends, and then they've stuck with their own fantasy world ever since then. So much so that they actually went back and came up with their own name for a plane that Arabian Nights is supposed to be, fully fictional from that plane to try to write out these real world connections, which obviously is just historic revisionism at that point. But that's how it was for years. And then they started doing Universes Beyond. And so you got brought in other stories like Lord of the Rings.
Which is what got us back into collecting again.
It was. But before that, they had done others, both through Secret Layers and special sets and
Oh,
cards and sets. So you have the Transformers, which, are supposed to be robots that can hide in plain sight in the real world by changing into vehicles and things. So
I don't know where
they did that in Brothers War. They did Lord of the Rings as a set. More recently, they've done Avatar: The Last Airbender. That also is its own fantasy world. Same as Lord of the Rings. It's not connected to our real world in any sort of direct way. Same with Final Fantasy and the cards they made for this. It's again its own separate fictional world, not connected to ours. But they also have done Spider-Man, which is based in New York City. And so some of the lands look very much like places in New York City. The food looks like it's from New York City. They did also Assassin's Creed. And Assassin's Creed features characters from history like Leonardo da Vinci, Socrates, Athenian teacher, Cleopatra, exiled pharaoh. These are all people based on historical figures. So, obviously, a little bit mythologized, but there's still that sort of connection there. And this has caused a lot. Again, Ninja Turtles is going to fall into this category again because they're again based in New York City. So, you got the plane of New York now in Magic the Gathering. This is causing a lot of people consternation. It's one thing to keep high fantasies type elements where it's very imaginative, but these real world connections, a lot of people don't like that. A lot of people think it takes them out of the experience, and it's caused a lot of frustration and discussion and everything else. And so I just thought that was an interesting way of doing it. Now they're continuing on with this. They're also bringing in Star Trek. And if you look at the Star Trek lore, it's been going on for a long time. They've come up with hundreds of years of history in Star Trek. And so, it gets pretty distant because it's based in the far future. But it's based on a foundation of what was real history up to the point and expected history when they started making the Star Trek series in 1960s. So it diverges a bit in the 90s, and how things happen in the Star Trek timeline is not the same you see everywhere. But again, it's going to be more sort of on the real world side. When you look at something like Star Wars, well, they say it's long, long ago in a galaxy far, far away, but they've rewritten the rules of the Force and physics and everything else for Star Wars. So I'd say that's more pure fantasy. And that when they did Jurassic Park, that's based more real world. And they did another sheet of cards that you could get in Lost Cabins of Ixalan to have. I don't have any, so I can't show you those. But that was another property they brought into Magic the Gathering with real world connections. And so it's just interesting that for so long they pushed that sort of thing out of the game. Like I said, not since Portal 3 Kingdoms did they have a lot of that sort of approach. And now they're diving back into it through bringing in these universes beyond, these other types of properties that they want to incorporate. It's I find it very fascinating. Now,
sorry.
in terms of storytelling and coming up with how you do that, there's different pros and cons again. More approachable stories. It's based in, a place that you might know. Whereas fantasy, you can have more going on of whatever sort of you want in that approach.
One thing we know they'll never put in Magic is Pokemon.
Well, honestly, I
Unless they
wouldn't
do a
put it past
crossover.
them. They probably want to, but
If they
getting
would,
the
if
rights
Pokemon
is
would do a
another.
crossover, that'd be weird.
I can't see the Pokemon Company letting that happen.
Yeah,
But I would say Wizards would probably like to. They used to publish it
yeah.
way back when in the 90s, so
That would be neat if they did like a promotion or something like that, where they kind of.
at least in North America,
That'd be neat.
it would be a neat sort of
Like,
thing
can
for
you
sure.
imagine a Psyduck Magic the Gathering card? That'd be kind of fun.
It could be.
Sorry, I'm very excited for this card. I had to make it do a
Get a
pop
little
it-
appearance in there.
pop-in appearance.
Yeah, but yeah, I just when I think back on the two sets, like I said, Legends was a real mixed bag, but Arabian Nights especially and Portal 3 Kingdoms are the only two sets that Magic came out with which are very decidedly featuring of real world historical figures, even if they've got mythological elements, places, time periods, stuff like this, that you can link them back to, up until you got things like, again, Spider-Man, Assassin's Creed, etc. But those two, which they did themselves without having to worry about, these property things to the same extent, which one did they do better? They're very different products, and maybe I'll do a deep dive on that one day, but they definitely stand out because they were two of my favorite sets just because they're so different in their approach to the world that they portray than the rest of Magic the Gathering, which is, again, based on their novels, which I paid no attention to growing up. The actual story around the world I found far less compelling than the game they produced. That was the only way to get certain cards, though, for years and years. Arena's got the little pen mark originally. It was available through a book. Sewers of
I'm
Edsec,
sorry, guys.
Windseeker Centaur. Even Mana Crypt was another one. Even things like this. The Nephali Dragon, a promo card from 1994, very early in the game's history. They were trying to get some connection to build a little bit more world building. So these small but intelligent dragons and their Aurelian allies held back the tide of Pikalish Mon's horde of Goblin Raiders. So Mon's Goblin Raiders was a card from Alpha. So you got the connection in there for that promo card.
Oh man.
And again, I used to look at these arts for mountains and forests and things and go, very real world looking. And that helped my young imagination to try and picture these things as I was on road trips and whatnot, driving past plains and not so many islands where I grew up, but forests and swamps and all kinds of
Lots
things.
rocky areas in Ontario, but
Yeah.
you didn't really go up to the rocky
And when I
areas.
moved out to where we are now, closer to the mountains, that was very evocative on drives through there.
Oh my goodness. The Rocky Mountains are amazing.
They are amazing.
I
So
definitely
yeah,
recommend people to come in the summer months, not the winter. But check out the Rocky Mountains in Canada.
yeah.
We have some amazing views up here.
Growing up, I loved the Transformers, and so this was the first sort of Universes Beyond content I ever got from Magic the Gathering. When I heard they made a set of these, I went and grabbed one of each for my binder. After the prices came down a little. Some of the portrayals are nice. Unfortunately, I don't like the transform mechanic, so I never actually have played with any of these. But they're neat to look at as just portrayals of characters that I liked as a kid. So, and maybe that's where it should have stayed. I don't know. A lot of this Universes Beyond stuff, I think they're just going overboard with it now. like every other set is Universes Beyond now, and some of them better matches than others. But a lot of the, like even with Lord of the Rings, which I would say was one of the more better thematic ones, um, even there, they had already covered a lot of the ground from it in their own world with the original Lorwyn, where they tried to bring in some similar sorts of characters, concepts, and imagery. And I think they did decent at that, although obviously they couldn't use the big characters. And then when they do bring the characters in, they make 4 different versions of them, and that breaks the immersion through the rules of the game. Like, it's very strange. Anyway,
Question is, are you OG or are you more modern?
what do you mean?
Players. OG player or
Well,
more modern
it
player?
depends. You know, everybody's got their own experiences, and that's going to shape what they think of some of these things. But yeah, I don't know. It's more sort of a thought experiment and an observation of how things have changed in the game, and boy, have they changed over the years a lot. I don't know what the future's going to hold with all this, purposefully shaping their sets to try to bring in more properties. With the sci-fi sets and inclusions recently leading into Star Trek and everything else. You look at
for me,
the other
Ninja Turtle
popular
interest
card
is
games.
more just because of we liked it as kids.
Yeah, well, that's similar to Transformers in that respect.
And when they came out Secret Lair for the Princess Bride, I wanted it because
Yeah, it's a favorite movie. It wasn't so much for playing
But Secret
with.
Lair is good just because that's what that is more for, right? Like maybe
Yeah.
some of these things should have been more Secret Lair.
But when I think of Magic the Gathering as a game, I think more of the classic stuff myself, and right through some newer cards as well. But there are some powerful and strong cards in some of these new sets. That's
oh
true.
yeah, don't get me wrong, I like some of
That's
these
true as
sets.
well. I don't know.
Where does Bloomborough fall into it? Is that part of like Magic or is
That's
that something else?
that's a set that was produced by Magic the Gathering itself. But again, with the creatures types all inspired by animal types, so that was
I want to open
fairly-
a booster box of Bloomborough.
fairly unique in its own way at the time as well. So
I like that set, and I kind of miss it. I'd like to go back to it.
yeah. So should we open a couple packs to close out the stream, or
Sure.
I don't know what or how many? We've got a couple of options on the table here, and there's a couple more up on the shelf over there.
I don't know.
I've got a couple. I think I've got 3 of these kicking around handy. Probably not so much of the Spider-Man, unless we wanted to get Ezra up here. But
No,
he's
he's
asleep.
He's
So
out. He's got a couple Spider-Man packs, yeah.
yeah, I've never opened an Assassin's Creed pack. I picked one up just so I'd have one as
Example.
an example for this world. I've got these 3 cards, which I ordered when I found out that they had made card representations of historical figures, which is always something I loved. Like I said, going back to Portal 3 Kingdoms and Arabian Nights and Legends. So I wanted to have these for my collection regardless. So that's where I got those. And again, remembering Ornithopter, this makes Thopter tokens. So, and I specifically even a 0/2 artifact creature with flying, which is very, very Ornithopter-esque. Interestingly. But yeah, I've never played any of the Assassin's Creed video games, so it really didn't have that much appeal to me outside of the historical reference. I don't know. We've got one of these. This is one that's still sealed. This is long opened and no packs in that.
We do have one each sealed still.
Yes, but I don't have any from
Yeah.
handy to open. I hadn't decided
We
if I
don't want
wanted.
to open them.
I haven't decided if I wanted to rip this scene pack for Final Fantasy. It's got 3 boosters in it or not, but that's a possibility.
The tins are right there.
Or
If
we
you
could
wanted-
just stick with the loose booster packs
if you
or
wanted
whatever.
to show the other tins, I can grab them off the shelf. But we're not opening them.
No, I mean the tins are. I mean, yeah, they use art sometimes from the game, but some of that's a bit of a stretch too.
I heard they're making Ninja Turtle tins.
Oh, that wouldn't surprise me.
So
They're doing all kinds of stuff.
I wish they'd made Tarkir tins because those were cool. I like Tarkir. Like, can you imagine the tins they could have made if they'd done that?
Oh, I could have had
They're
lots
very
of fun.
pretty.
So,
I don't know.
should we roll a dice and see what we should open?
I don't care. I just want to open Avatar.
Hmm. Well, I guess we could do that.
If you want to open a different one, you can. Just let me open an Avatar. I like the animal mix-ups that they do.
Yeah, that can be fun. Honestly, I think Avatar thematically was a more interesting set than Spider-Man.
I agree. We didn't really get that into Spider-Man at all. I mean, the price was crazy right at the beginning.
Yeah,
Um,
but yeah, I'll go grab those other 2 packs and we can open a couple of Avatar packs.
woohoo!
Very good stuff.
Avatar.
2 more.
I'm getting in here because I'm gonna open a pack. You know what I want to do though? I'm sorry. Spider-Man wasn't a good set. No, not really. There's some neat arts in it, but that's about it.
It's neat if you remember the characters. Like, I remember Spider-Man and all the cool villains and stuff from shows and stuff growing up. But,
I'm getting over a cold, so that's why I'm stuffy and sound funny, and why you heard me blowing my nose earlier. Oops. I just showed the hollow card at the end. That's not the first time I've done that.
so what do we got there? Fire Nation Raiders.
Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna spend too much time on each one. These look really cool though.
What did you say about Spider-Man?
What's up? Monster. Lost Days. Yeah, we got a Spider-Man pack on the board.
Yeah.
You want to open one?
Sure.
Okay, well let me finish this pack and then you can open one.
Airbending Lesson.
We got one of the Badger Mole.
Badger Mole. Not as good as the Badger Mole Cup, but
No. Earth,
Earth
Kingdom,
Kingdom.
Soldier.
yeah.
That's really cool. We lost everybody except for 2 people.
When Avatar first came
That's
out,
cool.
I knew nothing about the series.
Creature
I've since
cat
looked
bird.
up a little bit.
I don't know
Yeah.
about you, but I don't
Cat
think
owl.
I ever would have wanted my cat to fly. Sometimes he thought he could fly.
Yeah.
Why did I just imagine your cat jumping out of a window?
Vengeful Villages.
No, my cat climbed a tree and he was
Oh.
trying to get down and he started doing like acrobats, like cat like cartwheels down the tree.
Cat robots.
It was really funny actually. We got
Hey, do you,
Kosher
do you
Island
guys
Plaza.
also want to call it cat robots?
Shrine. Human
North
Soldier
Pole
Ally.
Patrol.
Yeah.
Interesting. We've got a tiger. Founder,
What?
where's Founder?
And,
Founder, it's a tiger dillo.
Yep.
What's so funny about a tiger dillo?
You had to be
You
there.
don't wanna
You
know.
had to be there, and you have to be an adult. Ooh, there
There's
you
a
go.
Tiger Seal.
Tiger seal. Look at it, so cute.
I
Is that one
know-
rare? Or is it?
I only heard
Yes,
of
it's rare.
Avatar as an
Okay.
anime.
That's what this is.
Yeah.
And then we've got
Ember Island Production.
that looks cool. Sorry, it's not very clear. There you go. Oh, sorry. And then we have, that looks cool. Kyoshi Village.
Hold on. That's the
That-
roller line down the middle, but
The art looks
Wait,
kind of
what
neat
line
though.
down the middle?
it's the
Alright.
roller line and the foiling.
I don't see
Let's just
it.
adjust this a little bit so Isabel can get in here.
You want to open the Spider-Man pack?
Yeah. Lately, I've been having dreams where I was Spider-Man. Like, I was still me, but, like, I was a version of Spider-Man.
Okay.
How do I open this? It's not like the Pokemon packs.
They're a little different, but same general concept.
Ah. Open up.
You're getting there.
There's a little hole through that see-through layer of plastic.
Oh my
You'll be able
goodness.
to go for like a very short drive around the block or something.
Maybe.
Can she open it? Can she do it without ruining the cards? I don't know. Turn around.
treasure token. It's
Uh,
like stacks of money, which is kind of
Oh, foil
odd
up
for a
front.
treasure.
Foil's up front.
ooh.
It's a foil common. Inner demons gangsters. Doc Ox tentacles. That's your rare.
Okay.
And uncommons. Prison break.
Okay, I'll try and hold it a little bit better. There we go.
Chameleon master of disguise. Rhino's rampage.
I'm a Spider-Man.
There we go. Better.
Mechanical mobster. Taxi driver. Yeah, I see.
Ooh, that one looks creepy.
Taxi driver and things like that do sort of break the immersion a bit for me. Legacy criminal. Spider-Man Brooklyn Visionary. And Skyward Spider. Spider Rex Daring Dino.
I like it.
Lurking Lizards. And that's it.
All right. Okay. All right. Bedtime, girl.
Some of them are cute. Some
Yeah.
of them are a little disturbing. And, you know, I don't know. Symbiotes and magic strike me as a little odd, too. They're already spiders, but that's a bit of a different thing from Spider-Man itself, per se.
All right. What are you opening?
I'll open an Avatar.
Alrighty.
They're fun, too. Did we get... where's the other one? Yeah. See the different crimping pattern?
Okay.
This one's sort of dots. This one's sort of lines.
I like the
And
one
if
that
we
comes
look-
from Japan.
Look on the back here. Made in USA is the one with the lines, which you opened. The ones with the dots are made in
you had it
Japan.
hidden. You had it hidden from me.
Made in Japan. So
I couldn't open the one from Japan because you hid those from me.
what are you talking about? I brought them up. They're sitting on the table here.
No, but I opened the other one first.
Yeah. I do find it interesting that you got the two different companies, and you can tell a little bit of a difference.
The quality
And how
is
they're
so
packaged
much
and everything.
nicer.
Aang. Awoken Avatar. Marit Lage. Oh, it's a Marit Lage token. Interesting.
2020. That's a
From Dark Depths.
what? Okay.
And a treasure token. So that's my first Marit Lage token. Now, those used to be hard to find. Not anymore, apparently. Is it Forest?
Ooh, it's shiny.
Cunning Maneuver?
It's a shiny piece of cardboard.
Sure is.
We like those.
Create a clue token. Oh, there's our rare
Secret
Secret
Tunnel.
Tunnel. That sounds interesting. It's not one I'm familiar with. This land can't be blocked. And it taps for a colorless or pay 4 and tap it. 2 creatures you control that share a creature type can't be blocked this turn. So the can't be blocked itself is only if you use earthbending to make it a creature, basically. I forget the next couple of lines, but then it goes secret tunnel, secret tunnel. Musician. So that's a rare. Then we've got True Ancestry. Another lesson, this time in green. A war balloon. And waterbending scroll. Ability costs 6 to draw a card, but cheaper for each island you control. So eventually you can be drawing cards for free in a mono blue deck. Or just late game in general. White Lotus reinforcements. Interesting. We've got curious farm animals. These are very curious designs. They all seem to incorporate pigs in some form. We've got Watery Grasp. Kyoshi Warriors, Callous Inspector, Walltop Sentries,
Porcupine.
Porcupine,
I like it.
and Vindictive Warden.
Mm.
Yeah, these are definitely a little glossier, I think.
Mm-hmm. I need to get to open the last Avatar pack because I didn't get to open the nice one. Let's
I
do that.
wonder if collectors, if it makes a big difference if you're trying to collect everything, if you have to tell the different versions that were printed in different areas from the printing quality or whatever. Probably not, but you never know.
There we go. Oh, it feels so much nicer. Well, they put Japan puts the shiny ones at the front.
North Pole Gates.
Ooh, that's neat.
Dai Li Agents.
It's an uncommon. I don't know
Full
what this
art
one does.
foil.
That looks cool.
It does look cool. Whenever this creature enters Earthbend 1, then Earthbend 1 again. Green and black. Whenever this creature attacks, each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is the number of creatures you control with +1/+1 counters on them. That could be dangerous.
That's kind of cool. Ooh, Waterbender Ascension. That's pretty. I like this card. I like it. It's pretty.
It is pretty.
And oh my goodness, that thing's ugly. Why? Why would somebody ever do that?
Buzzard Wasp Colony.
Why?
Buzzard Wasps.
Yeah, not fun. Jet's brainwashing?
Apparently.
And we've got a Flopsy Boomy's Butty.
An ape goat.
That's there's a cute bunny behind it or something. Earth's Kingdom Protectors. Foggy Swamp Hunters. That sounds like a bad joke. Like a punchline for a bad joke. Flexible Waterbender. Avatar Enthusiasts. What is that guy? Looks weird. What's going on with him? What the heck? That's so weird.
Not sure.
Merchant of Many Hats. Makes me think of that story you liked when you were a kid. Sabertooth Moose Line. Oh yeah, there we go.
That
If we ever had like some massive creature and it would be Canadian, it would be
elk
this
cat.
thing. Just cuz.
7/7 reach, and it can force cycle for 2. That's actually kind of intriguing
That's a big
from my
creature.
old school way of thinking.
It's a big creature.
Yeah.
Fire Nation Raider. And Kyoshi Battle Fan. So.
Well, that's that, unless I want to dig into the Assassin's Creed booster.
Do it. Do it. Nobody else is saying do it, but I say do it. Open it. I want to see.
Well, I guess I could say I've opened one then.
I'm going to take this back to school tomorrow. Esther stole a magnet from school. It's like I found it sitting there. Somehow it was in my sock.
These packs are weird because there's 7 cards. Like, that's a very strange number for a booster pack, in my opinion. Probably a little bit less strange now that they've gone to 14 cards per pack, but it used to be you either got 15 cards or 8 cards in booster packs.
Oh my goodness.
So, both those seem a little weird to me.
Blow my nose and it's still stuffed.
Chance for multiple rares still in this one. Unlike, well, I guess they're not like the value boosters that you got from Boomborough. Those were 7 card packs as well. Oh, what is this?
Oh, what is that?
We put "the" in Magic the Gathering.
Is that a token type thing? In place of the token card? What the heck?
Yeah, it's a copy token. Interesting. So we got a Templar Knights.
Cool.
3/1 Vigilance. Tap 5. It's an uncommon. Untapped attacking creatures you control named Templar Knights. Search your library for a legendary artifact card. Put it onto the battlefield and then reshuffle. Interesting. So they're hunting artifacts. It's a 3/1 Vigilance for 2. And a deck can have any number of cards named Templar Knights. That might actually be worth a few bucks then, because it's an uncommon and your deck can have any number of them. So, interesting. Another uncommon, Viewpoint Synchronization. I don't know if you've got something handy to check values on these, but like I said, it might be worth checking.
Sorry, I can. What do you want me to look?
The Templar Knight. Free running for 3. You may cast the spell for its free running cost if you dealt combat damage to a player this
That's
turn.
like 350.
Okay. Search your library for up to 3 basic land cards, reveal them, put 2 of them onto the battlefield tapped, and the others into your hand. Then we have Coastal Piracy. Are there commons in the set, or is it just uncommons and rares?
I don't know.
I don't know. Mighty kind of these fellows to keep our riches safe for us. Let's go thank them properly. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to an opponent, you may draw a card. Trying to remember if that's a reprint. Oh, there's a mountain.
That looks cool, though.
It does look interesting. I'm guessing there's no commons then. And we have
Ooh.
Mary Reed and Anne Bonny. Human Assassin Pirate. That's a rare. 3/3 haste for 3, and you can tap it to draw a card and discard a card. Whenever you discard an island, pirate, or vehicle card, create a tapped treasure token. Interesting.
That's just 50 cents.
Yeah. Oh, and then we got a
Ooh.
foil Terminate, which is an uncommon. But Terminate used to be a playable card. I'm not sure if it still is, except maybe in draft. Destroy target creature. It can't be regenerated for a red and a black as an instant. Does look kind of neat. Freedom is not given, Caesar. It is taken. And another rare.
Ooh, that one looks cool.
Bakek of Siwa. Human Assassin, double strike. 4/3. It's a borderless, some sort of. I don't know.
That one's 450.
As long as it's your turn, other historic creatures you control have double strike. And you can disguise, whatever disguise
I
means.
think that's your best card out of the pack.
Probably. Well, didn't get any doubles anyway. So there's
That
that.
looks neat.
It does look kind of neat.
Alrighty. Well.
So that was moderately interesting anyway.
Alrighty. Well. Was that it? Was there anything else you wanted to discuss?
I don't know. We got any sleeves handy? I guess
don't know
that's
the
pretty
sleeves are
well
right now.
it. I didn't really.
I'm really contested.
My general observations was all I really had to share on this. Maybe one day, if people are interested, I'll do a deep dive
Yeah,
looking
these-
at comparing, Arabian Nights and Portal 3 Kingdoms, those early sets that Magic did with real world reference in them, and just see which one did it better or something. But that's sort of a project for another day, because I did not at all prepare for that level of involvement in this. But which do you guys prefer? Do you prefer things that are based in a purely fantasy world, or do you prefer the storytelling reality elements that tie things back to our world?
I like the art. If the art's good, I may be forgiving.
Storytelling freedom is nice if you use it well, but I don't know. Like I said, from the base set initially when I was starting to play, the cards that tended to inspire my imagination most were ones that tied in closely to reality. Even things like the basic lands, lightning bolts, etc. Grizzly bears. Those always sort of caught my eye for some reason. So who knows? Yeah, let's get that.
Sorry,
off
did
here.
you say what you're planning for next Monday? If everything's going well and we don't have any hiccups or
No, I
chaos
can't
happens?
say that quite yet because I still have a lot of work to do to get there.
Okay.
So
So in the meantime, Thursday is Pokemon Stream Day. And I don't know if stuff is gonna get here in time, but just as a preview for what we're gonna be doing on Monday, I put this together. Or on Thursday, I mean. I took a mini tin box and turned it into a booster box. So that is a preview, provided everything gets here by Thursday. We are going to open a custom booster box of Prismatic Evolution. If not, we have some ETBs. So,
sounds interesting.
but stuff is coming from Walmart, and last time things did not go so well. We had bad weather, air quotation marks, because weather was fine. I think the delivery guy just forgot my parcel and didn't want to go back out. So,
Yeah, I was thinking too. There's been other sets that, like they did a commander set or a series of commander decks for Doctor Who, but I don't know Doctor Who well enough to know which category it falls into as fiction. Is it based in the real world primarily, or is it entirely fictional? I kind
I
of
think it's a mix from the clips and stuff I've seen.
I suspect that it's a blended one, but it's supposed to be based in and around London or something in England.
Yeah.
So
Because I've seen clips that come on my feed on Facebook and stuff like that.
yeah.
There's been some pretty good actors that have played the Doctor. So
I don't doubt it one bit.
like that Tennant guy. What's his first name? He was in Harry Potter. Somebody Tennant. What's his name? I can't remember his first name.
I couldn't identify him.
You don't know that actor? He's the one that.
No, I'm not. I don't know a lot of actors in general.
Okay, well the guy that. Oh my goodness, I'm forgetting everybody's names. He was the one that used the polyjuice and turned into the professor. Or that other professor, the guy with the eye patch. Why am I forgetting everybody's names?
Yeah, time travel always messes things up pretty good. I thought it was based in the real world, but yeah, that makes sense.
But there are some weird worlds that they go to though.
Oh, I have no doubt. No doubt of that.
Because I remember seeing some different. I'm sorry, my brain is just done.
And then Warhammer 40K, they did a set around that, and that's one is also very much entirely fantasy. And so is, well, Dungeons and Dragons, interestingly, it's, yes, fantasy, and they did make up their own world around it. But at least initially, it used to have elements that were kept more generic so that you could write your own tales around it, right? So
I don't know.
that's sort of a similarity it had with like early Magic the Gathering, I think. But I think both have gone the way of pure fantasy that aren't related to real worlds ever since, basically. So
This time is very magnetic.
anyway, I am fading fast.
Yep.
It's been a rough couple days, but I wanted to get these thoughts out of there and get them recorded because it's something I've been thinking about for a while, and honestly, just storytelling, I think, boils down to very much differences in how things are presented, how things can be told. And I think that's one of the big clashing reasons why people are chafing, aside from just the sheer quantity of these Universes Beyond sets and crossover elements they keep working in. And the fact that they've made them standard legal now, too. So you sort of have to see them more often. But yeah, I think the real world elements are really irksome to some people and they find them immersion breaking. And I can understand that because honestly, some of them are to me, too. But just from a collector standpoint, I grabbed these because I like them as a portrayal of characters that I loved.
Mm-hmm.
But I like them better.
David Tennant, thank you, Ryan.
I like them much better as remembrances of
Abram,
Transformers
you know Harry Potter characters?
than I do as magic cards to play with.
What was the professor that the guy
So-
used the polyjuice to pretend he was the one with the eye patch?
I see them in a different light.
Moody! Mad-Eye Moody, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the guy who pretended to be him, what was his character's name?
Buddy Crutch Jr.
There, see, we got
There you go.
we got our Harry Potter master over here.
Not as big of a fan as some people.
No,
Yeah, that's
just
true.
when I say master, I mean knowledge.
Used to be a
Knowledge.
fan, and then I started losing interest when they were
'Cause-
killing.
yeah,
they were
because he killed your favorite characters off.
yeah, they killed all the really good characters.
Just write J.K. Rowling a letter, say, "How dare you?
Yeah.
How could you do that?"
All my favorite.
She had her
characters.
reasons, I'm sure, but
Yeah,
that's another one that would you like to see a Harry Potter Magic the Gathering set? That could be interesting.
oh,
It
my
does
goodness.
seem like
I feel like she would
Lord
be
of the
all for it.
Rings, with Star Trek, with what else was there? But like a lot of these games had separate card games in the early days that were fairly popular on their own, and now they're just trying to get the rights and fold them all into Magic. It wouldn't surprise me if they're working on
Oh, that
things
is
like Harry
weird.
Potter and others.
Okay, so on your screen it says David Holds. On my screen it says David Tennant for the chat.
Hmm.
That is so weird.
Interesting.
JR Raid. Hey JR, you're coming in. Raiders are coming in just as we're
Well,
finishing
thanks
up.
very much for joining us. For
You can do a
anyone just
recap.
joining us, just very briefly, we were talking about Magic the
Hey, Blood
Gathering's
Bug.
ways of presenting story. So that goes right back
Hey,
to its
JB.
beginning with Alpha, Arabian Nights, Antiquities and Legends. Alpha was very much just generic fantasy. Didn't really present a world building scenario.
Hey,
just
Dirk
describe
Welcome
the
in.
individual creatures and let you do it yourself. Arabian Nights brought in real world stories, real world tie-ins for Baghdad and Cairo
Me,
and
Raid. Love
Alexandria
y'all. Thank you, Raiders.
and King Solomon, things like this, touchstones in our real world, which I find neat. Antiquities then was a knee-jerk the other way, and Magic started to build its own world and characters that were entirely its own creations. And mainly that's where it went ever since. Legends had a little bit of a kickback in the other direction where things were inspired by all kinds of sources.
Ooh,
But you had Nebuchadnezzar, you
Guess
had Albert Einstein and Rasputin references, for example, from real world personages. And
Because
the
I
like.
can.
And,
Christina. It's a new month. I can gift
It is a new
memberships.
month.
Oh, look, Boyd got a membership.
Congrats.
Decent Trader Broly got a membership.
So,
Eric the Gamer.
But yeah, and then
and Hey Girl.
ever since then, they basically stuck to their own world building around Dominaria initially and then other planes. One little exception, Portal 3 Kingdoms, they went and explored the ancient Japan historical legends.
Oh, wait.
But they basically kept away from that otherwise ever since.
Thank you.
Up until they started doing Universes Beyond.
Surveying got a membership.
And some Universes Beyond are very much their own, Lord of the Rings, its own fictional universe. So is Avatar, The Last Airbender. So is Final Fantasy. Another one.
Oh, and
But then you've got things that are based in
He owes
our
you.
world. So whether that was Transformers, whether that was things from the Assassin's Creed series,
mhm.
like references to Leonardo, Socrates, and Cleopatra here, or whether that was what was the other example we had? Spider-Man,
Not
based based in New York City, with
Psyduck is making
Bagel
another
and Schneer and things like
Slap
that.
Queen, welcome in.
Lands that look like famous landmarks you might recognize.
I had to show it
Things
off.
like that.
I was very excited to pull that yesterday.
And Ninja Turtles coming up is also
I'm a
based in New York.
huge
So now we got
Avatar nerd, says
the
JB.
plane in New York.
Collecting the MTG set. Nice.
Yeah.
Sven.
I didn't know anything about the
Hey, Ryan
Avatar
Tran.
world until Magic
JH Reed.
came the set. Then I did a little bit of research. We opened a little bit of that today.
Yeah.
Got this
That
foil
looks pretty.
borderless
Looks cool. There you go.
dailies agents.
Game show host trade.
We opened one of these. Ember Island. And
I
then our
have not
rares
eaten
were
red.
a Secret
I have
Passage,
not eaten red.
Tiger Seal, and Water Bending Ascension.
I have not eaten
Waterbender
red.
Ascension.
I was like, what does that mean?
I even got a token.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
a Merit Lage token, but Aang Awoken
Oh.
Avatar.
Since more people
So,
popped in,
Who
just
knows?
a quick preview of what we're gonna open on Thursday if it arrives in time.
If not, well,
We made a booster box. So
because interestingly, a year ago,
we couldn't get anything.
things were ridiculous to find, much like the current recent release,
Ascended Heroes.
Ascended Heroes.
Which
But now it's become a little bit easier to find some deals
Sorry.
on Prismatic.
we
all
opened
of a
6
sudden.
packs of Ascended Heroes and we got the side deck, so that was pretty exciting.
So we're gonna try and do a custom
Mm.
booster box. Yes.
If it arrives in time, if not, we'll save it for next week. Hey, decent trader Broly.
So that should be fun. We'll see if we can get something other than a trainer when it comes to like full art cards, basically.
I have a code.
Yeah,
That's why I'm not talking too much.
I think Lucas finally might have crashed.
Yo, I think he did too.
He's been up a long time today and been rather agitated, so it's been a tough
Yeah,
day.
hopefully he sleeps till
Hopefully,
morning.
and has a good day tomorrow with a good night's sleep.
I
today.
am on the mend. It's just, it still sucks.
Yeah.
So,
But thanks for just stopping in. Like I said, just wrapping up, and I was just musing on the
Did-
different styles of
did
storytelling
Broly see it? Broly,
and
did you see
how
this?
it's caused clashes with some of the properties
Mm.
that brought in for Universes Beyond. Very different
Ugh.
way of doing things.
Yeah, we're just finishing
Find that
up.
interesting.
But you guys can feel free to rewatch. The beginning has some more interesting cards.
Yeah, I went through some of the
So.
older ones, but basically with a focus on
Love
flavor
you,
text
fam, in the
and
most
things
decent
like that.
way.
So,
Um,
but yeah, just some of the old cards that I loved as a kid. These are just a little handful of
A little
revised I
higher.
grabbed. Whoops. I'm going to flip them through. Some flashbacks
Mm.
for some of you, perhaps. All kinds of things. That was infamous. Giant Growth. Channel. Instill Energies.
yeah,
There's a
they're
Desert Twister.
old. They're older cards.
Lure.
They're vintage.
Oh, yeah, kind of.
I
There's a
like that
Crowworm.
one.
Fog. Fog on the Barrow Downs. Whoops. There's an
Are
Elvish.
you into Lorwyn set? Are
Archer.
we into Lorwyn sets? We opened a whole booster box last week.
It's the first set of Magic we've opened a whole booster box of since Lord of the Rings, I think.
Yes.
So,
I really like it a lot, to be honest. The art is gorgeous.
I don't know. Lorwyn was an interesting place for me when the original came out. So,
I think we put it in our playlist of Monday Night Magic, so
some
you
dragons.
can feel free to rewatch anytime you get a chance.
Bigger dragon.
It's a beautiful set. We went to our
Rock
first
Hydra.
pre-release in years, and that was what we went to. It was fun. We're trying to decide if we want to go to the Ninja Turtles pre-release or not. I don't know.
It could be fun
might
if
be
we're
fun.
available.
We just have to find a sitter, I think.
Yeah, I'm not as interested in the set as a whole, but it could be interesting to check out.
There's Void. He always pops up when you're showing the old stuff.
Sometimes, yeah. There's Gloom. Oh, one of my friends used to absolutely abuse this card.
That was me. I gave out 5 gifted memberships, and you were a lucky recipient, along with Decent Trainer Broly and I forget who else.
One of
Hey
my
Girl
first
got
cards
one,
ever.
but she's not here.
Good old Tim, the Enchanter, the Prodigal Sorcerer, right? Got his nickname from Monty Python in the Search for the Holy Grail because you could tap to do damage to things. There's an Air Elemental. They were popular. If you didn't have a lot of rares, it was a decent uncommon. Clones. The big boy, Mahamati Djinn. A little easier to find than Shivan Dragons. Everybody liked the dragon. This guy was strong enough to actually go toe-to-toe with it most days. Not as much damage output potential, but still a lot of fun.
I think I'd rather, I don't know, if I'd rather have congestion than a cough or not. They both suck.
I do like the brightened up color a bit on 4th edition. Tad better for this art myself. Brass Man was a reprint from Arabian. Juggernauts. So was Desert Twister. The Living Wall is a little gross.
Yep.
Disrupting Scepter. More card discard. And then we're back to the Savannah Lands. So. A few old goodies.
Oh, do you want to show off your these guys really quick? Because people who just came in didn't see those.
Yeah, this was one of the first Universes Beyond type thing where they brought in cards to represent characters from Transformers, and they're transforming cards. So, there's Optimus and Optimagnus, and then they can turn into the trucks on the other side. And same thing with your other characters down here, which, personally, I didn't like the tank version of Megatron as much as the classic gun
They
version,
truly are
but-
more than meets the eye.
Yeah. And like I said, I like them better as portrayals of the characters that I loved than I like them as magic cards. Because, in part, I just don't like the transform mechanic. 2-sided cards always bugged me. But, yeah, I went and when I heard that they had come out with these, I made my point of getting a complete set of one of each to put in my binder because I just thought that was interesting. And that
Yeah,
was
those are
back in 2022.
Yeah.
So very recent that they've started bringing in these out of universe franchise cards into Magic the Gathering. It's the first one I remember anyway. I never got into Secret Lairs. Maybe they were doing it there first. The only Secret Lair we've picked up is the Princess Bride one.
Yes.
Which is neat. And that's another...
It was my Christmas present to myself.
Yeah, that's another sort of pure fantasy that's not based in the real world so much. So
The art was just beautiful. I had to have it.
it was lovely.
It was very well done.
Yeah. So
Much love, you Canucks got running to do and all that today.
right.
Yeah, we
I
gotta
gotta
go to
pack this
bed,
up.
too.
And
I'm sick.
yeah.
And
But thanks for joining us and sharing in our
see you
little
Thursday, hopefully with
examination of how Magic has told stories through
our
the years, how it's
custom-
changed, and how
booster box of this. Sorry, I'm interrupting.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying Thursday. That
right,
if we get it in time.
if we get it in time,
If not, it'll be some ETBs.
likely enough.
I'm so tired and so sick. I need sleep.
Black and white is usually a little more interesting to open than prismatic anyway. So
We did pick up a Phantasmal Flames booster too.
we
Or
did.
ETB, I mean.
That's not been giving us good luck either.
No, it's not. And I just
So-
can't stop. So somebody send me a Charizard and make me stop.
Anyhow,
Sick and tired, huh?
better,
Yeah, I got a cold.
better wrap it
It's
up
not
for
fun.
now.
And kids don't let me sleep. So,
Yeah, not helpful.
all right, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. I don't know if there's really anybody. Well, Vicariously, is he still raid? Because we could
I
raid
don't
him.
know.
Let's raid Vicariously if he's still there. Just give me a second here. We just run over there and say Spokat raid. Because why not? We did him last time, but he was like one of the only ones live.
Bye.
Just don't say bye
Hot
yet. I'm
dog
not
for
ready
now.
yet.
No,
Don't
we're not
say
ready
bye
yet.
yet.
Okay,
I'm not
well,
ready yet.
Just getting it set up.
Don't leave, guys.
Yeah, it's in the works.
Oh my goodness. He's gonna get us all. We'll go over there with like just me, and that's happened before.
Well, we've got
Uh,
some people anxiously waiting for other things too. So,
oh yes, I know. I'm sorry. Just a second.
but
Almost
thank
there.
you very much for the raid, and we will try and return the favor here to somebody
Yeah.
very shortly.
Let's see is
The stubborn Western New
Ah.
Yorkers boils with
he
resentment.
is still alive.
Yeah, well,
You know what though? Hey, do we want to do vicariously or do we want to go to somebody different? I did say vicariously, so let's just
I
do
don't know.
vicariously. Let's go to vicariously. Oh man, phone out of battery. No!
that happens too.
Don't okay. We're going. We're going. I got the redirect set up. We're gonna go over there. We're gonna say Spokat raid. And we'll see you guys Thursday.
Bye for now.
Bye for now, guys. Much love. See you soon. Thanks for hanging out with us. And thanks for the raid.
Cheerio.